Yes, good evening. Welcome to the teaching tonight. This week we are dealing with character. Remember that character will authenticate the messenger. So now, if your character is not right, it's going to be difficult for you to pass on your message. We know that during elections, some people vote for people because they are famous, or maybe they gain something from them. But a good leader is the one that has got good character. So tonight I'm speaking about Servanthood Principle. Excuse me. Now, Jesus Christ is a perfect example of servanthood leadership. When you lead, you are actually a servant. When you lead, you do not have to be prominent. A leader is not a boss. Or there may be a boss in the way that they address it, but then it is not the boss in the way that people generally take it. Because people think that the boss is somebody that that comes and prescribes things, does not listen to people, he dictates, he directs. No. A leader is somebody who understands what being a boss is all about. Now, obviously, you've got fake leaders and you've got true leaders. Let me be clear right from the start. A good manager is not necessarily a good leader. There is a huge difference between a manager and a leader. A manager manages process. A manager can push people to work. A manager, corrects. A manager can do all those kind of things. But a leader is quite different. And as a matter of fact, a leader doesn't have to know the job. A leader doesn't have to be a specialist in any of the things that are being done. But he can achieve the results. So now a true leader will always want to serve his followers. It's an important thing that you as a leader need to realize. You must be willing to serve your followers. How do you serve your followers? Number one, you put their interest above your own. If you are a leader, the interest of the people that you lead must be above yours. Remember, as a leader, you've got different deliverables that you need to deliver. And remember, also as a leader, you are a servant to even your bosses. So now you've got a very, very huge task to achieve. You must put the interest of the people that you lead above your own. Number two, you must always seek the fulfillment of the people that you lead. The people that you lead must be fulfilled in what they do. I know you cannot force people to go and drink water. You cannot force a donkey to drink water. You can take it to the river, but you cannot force it to drink. But then that is the task of leadership. You must be able to take a horse to the river. You must be able to convince the horse that it needs the water. It's up to you as a leader to motivate the horse. I know we've got these riddles that says you cannot take a donkey to the river. If the donkey doesn't want, then go out and look for another donkey or do something different. No. As a leader, it's up to you. Remember, a leader is a person of influence. A leader is a person of influence. You as a leader, you need to influence people around you. You do not have to say anything, but your presence can mean a lot. So many people fail in leadership. They think leadership is being boss, leadership is being dictatorial, leadership is commanding, leadership is benefits. No, that's not leadership. So now you need to put the fulfillment of the people that you lead ahead. People must be fulfilled. They must be happy to follow you. You need not force them to follow you. Leadership is about like faith. You need to be able to convince people that it is good for them. You need to influence them. And we'll speak about ways of influences later, how you influence people. Number 3, you need to help people implement their own vision. So now, if you've got people working for you and you are a leader, if you've got people in ministry and you are a leader, look, those people also have got visions of their own. Make no mistake. People have got a vision. They all want to go ahead. They all want to achieve something in life. There is no one who wants to remain in the same position for life. So now, as a leader, you need to make it a point that you understand their vision as well, and you work towards helping them reach their goals. That is leadership. Point number 4. You need to promote the progress of the people that you lead. I mean, can you just imagine somebody being an usher for 30 years? Or somebody being a hostess for 40 years in church? No. That is not right. That is not right at all. If somebody remains in the same position for 10, 20, 50 years and they don't move, now there's something wrong with leadership. There is something wrong with leadership. So now when somebody fails and they are not progressing, the first person to look at is the leader. Where is the leadership where so and so is failing? I think you all know that in South Africa now, we are facing the problem of Kaizer Chiefs losing. I know some people can say that no, it is different. No, for the fact that Chiefs are losing, they've lost their 4th game in a row. There is something wrong with leadership. Leadership may have money, leadership may do all those kind of things, but then there is something definitely wrong with leadership at Kaizer Chiefs. And listen to me, leadership cannot be inherited. Leadership cannot be bought. Leadership, it's something you can train people in leadership. But then it also, leadership, it's servanthood. Spiritual. Leadership is spiritual. So now, how did Jesus teach leadership? So now remember, Jesus taught for 3.5 years. 3.5 years. But then that's not only that. Jesus taught even before he was still young. Remember, he used to remain in the temple and argue and debate with the people in the temple. Those Pharisees and Sadducees. Jesus used to argue with them and debate with them. So Jesus started teaching way before the age of 30. So now, Jesus promoted servanthood leadership, number 1, through his teachings. I'm going to give you verses where Jesus taught. So in the 3.5 years, Jesus taught more and performed less miracles. He taught more and performed less miracles. Why? Because Jesus knew that he was training these people to impact the whole world. He was not training them only to be impactful in Galilee or in Nazareth or in Israel. No, he was training people to be impactful worldwide. That is why Jesus is known worldwide. There is no place where they don't know Jesus. People may deny him. People may refuse him. People may want to argue with him. but he remains the most influential leader that ever lived, and that is ever living, even after his death, resurrection, and ascension into heaven. He is still leading. 2024 years later, we're still saying Jesus is Lord. Why? Because of his leadership. A leadership does not mean that you are weak. No, Jesus told his disciples and said, guys, if you want to live, please live. If you want to live, please live. A leader, yes, Bishop Nelushi, a leader is honest. A leader must be honest with his people. And say, guys, I don't think I need you here. I don't think I need you because I don't see your influence. A leader does not buy face. Your teaching must be direct. A teacher, a leader does not go to beg. A leader does, look, some people make it, the leader must use the word please. No, for a leader, you influence people. People need, let me tell you something. If you are a leader, people will feel guilty for being sick and not going to work. I can tell you that people will feel guilty. Look, I'm not talking about something that I don't know. I've been a leader for the past 30 years. I've won leadership awards. And I can tell you the people that I led were most intelligent than me. I may have the trophies here at the back. Some of you can see the trophies here at the back. But that's not about me today. It's about leadership. So your teachings, what you teach people, you know, when you work in the office, you've got these people that come and sit on your table. You're busy working there, they come and sit on your table. I pulled them, I said, come here. Did you know that it's rude to sit on the table where somebody is working? You putting your behind on the table. That person puts their lunch there, and you come and sit on the same table where they put their lunch. Can you imagine the kind of message that you're giving them? I said, when you want to speak to somebody, pull a chair, sit next to them, or maybe stand in front of them until they offer you a chair to sit down. So now you need to teach people. You do not have to take people to leadership seminars. You can teach people to be leaders by the way that you do things yourself. People will copy you. People will follow you. And then you are going to spread yourself. You are going to distribute yourself amongst everybody that you are leading. You can lead by example. Teaching does not mean spend a lot of money. Let me tell you, being a leader has got nothing to do with qualifications. You can have a BCom, you can have a doctorate, you can have a master's degree. You may be a foolish leader, you may be a poor leader who is unable to lead. So leadership has got nothing to do with qualifications. I mean, if you hear these politicians, they call each other, yeah, yes, my leader, yes, my leader. And you look at that kind of leadership, there's no leadership at all. Just because they are in a position, they think they are a leader. No, leadership has got nothing to do with position. Leadership has got nothing to do with position. So now, this is something that you need to understand. Leadership is dynamic. We are having a leadership seminar now in May. I'm going to invite you people to come to leadership seminar, where we teach you, we show you what leadership is all about. You can be a leader by being an example. All right, let me just give you where Jesus taught leadership. I'm going to give you verses now. I would like you to write them down, or maybe you're going to rewind this video and listen again. Matthew chapter 20, from verse 20 to verse 28. Jesus is teaching leadership. Mark chapter 9, verse 33 to 37. Matthew 23, verse 1 to 12. John 12, verse 24 to 26. And John 13, verse 12 to verse 17. So Jesus is teaching about leadership. So Jesus showed leadership through his example. Like I said, you need to be an example of a leader. You can teach through being an example. Let me give you places where Jesus is an example. John 13, verse 1 to 11. John 21, 9 to 13. Matthew 20, verse 29 to 34. Luke 7, verse 11 to 15. Now I want you to observe something here. You know that the four Gospels, right? The four Gospels. Matthew was a disciple of Jesus. He was one of the 12. Mark was not one of the 12. Luke was not one of the 12. John was one of the 12. So now it leaves two people who were not one of the 12, but they were two of the 70 other disciples. And leadership lessons appear more in the book of Mark and in the book of John, where Jesus became an example. I mean, it's me thinking now. Mark and Luke said, no, we do not have to belong to the 12, the big 12, but we can follow Jesus from afar. They were part of the 70. I mean, can you just imagine Luke, a medical doctor, who probably left his surgery to go and follow Jesus as part of the 70. He didn't go there and say, hey, Pelamina, I'm a medical doctor. I need to be in front. I want to be part of the 12. No, he never demanded. He could learn from Jesus as an example, following him from afar. So Jesus was a good example for Luke, for him to be able to record things of leadership, and he saw them as useful and very, very important. That is why probably Luke went on to write the book of Acts. But he was following Jesus from far as part of the 70, not in a position of being the closest to Jesus. You can be a good leader from far. You can be a good leader from far. People don't have to be close to you. People don't need a position to learn from you. You can lead. You can show them leadership from far. The way that you carry yourself, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you speak, people can learn a lot from you. The way that you engage here on social media, the way that you engage, it's very, very important. Look, I cannot tell you how many people I receive in my inbox. People saying that, no, we've learned this from you. Would you please help us with this? That's when I met most of my friends here on Facebook. Why? Because they see something in me, and I'm so grateful that people see leadership. People feel that they can confide. Why? Because of what they see. So now I'm going to speak about the characteristics of a true servant. Characteristics of a true servant. You can use another word, you can use attributes of a good servant. Number one, must be humble. You must be humble. Hey, there are people that are so proud. Look, as a leader, obviously you are going to have the reverence of people. People will respect you. People will respect your position. And people will put you at a certain level. But just because people put you at a certain level does not mean that you need to be proud and put yourself up there as well. You need to be humble. And remember, humble does not mean stupid. Humble does not mean doormat. You need to be humble at all times. Humble means you need to be able to learn from your followers. You must understand that your followers are probably more qualified than you. Your followers probably know more than you. Your followers are probably older than you. Your followers have got much more experience than you. So now you need to be humble at all times. You need to be a learning institution yourself. That is humility. You need to be a learning institution yourself. You need to speak with respect to people. Do not judge books by their covers. Do not take your position into your head. Your position is nothing. Character. Number 2, you must be submissive. Yeah. Let me tell you, the most powerful leader in families is a woman who is submissive to her husband. The most powerful leader in families, I'm repeating, it's a woman who is submissive to her husband. You can find no better leader than the woman who is submissive to her husband. You can go anywhere, you can go search everywhere. You can quote me if you want. So being submissive is an attribute of a leader. It means you must understand the centurion servant in the book of Matthew chapter 8. He told Jesus, he said, "Hey, Jesus, I am a man under authority. I've got people reporting to me. I say do this, they do. I say do that, they do. But Jesus, I know you've got authority over sickness. You don't have to come under my roof." That man could have said, "Hey, come under my roof. I'll buy you this. I'll cook this kind of meal for you." Why? Because I can afford, I can take you to this kind of hotel and all those kind of things. He said, "No, I know that you are a leader. You are a person of leadership yourself. You've got authority. Just say a word. You don't have to come under my roof. I am not worthy that you come under my roof." You need to have that kind of attitude. A leader must be modest. A leader must be modest. Let me tell you, this is not negotiable. You cannot negotiate modesty as a leader. When people come and tell you that, well done, you need to calm down. You need to calm down and say, "No, we thank God for it. We bless God for it." Not say, "Yeah, I did it. I did it. I did it." You know, in Isaiah chapter 14, you can see that, is it 14 or 12? One of the two. The devil said, I'll be like the Most High. I. You know, people who are bad leaders have got an eye disease. They've got an eye disease. Everything is about them. Everything is about them. They talk about what they've achieved. You know, poor leaders usually boast about their paper qualifications. Let me tell you, a true leader, you will not even know that they've got a bachelor's degree or an honors degree or a master's degree or even a doctorate. You won't know. But these foolish leaders will be the first one to tell you that I am Dr. So-and-so. I am Dr. So-and-so. One day I greeted one pastor. I said, "Good day, pastor." He said, "I'm not a pastor. Don't call me pastor. I'm an apostle." I saw there's no leadership here. There is no leadership. How can you be so pompous and call yourself an apostle when somebody reveres you, respects you, and calls you a pastor? You tell them that you're not a pastor, you're an apostle. Who told you that an apostle is greater than being a pastor? All those 5 offices, they are equal. They are equal. Jesus gave those gifts to men. He gave people different gifts. And he never said an apostle is greater than a pastor. If you think that you're an apostle, you are better than a pastor, think again. I know of people who have ordained themselves as apostles because they think to be an apostle is the better position. No, not at all. You can have a good teacher. A Sunday school teacher can be the best that it can be. They can influence the world. So now it is not about anything else. You must be modest as a leader. Number next. As a leader, you must be unselfish. You must be unselfish. You know, when you watch soccer, you've got these players that are selfish. You can tell that those players cannot be leaders. They cannot even share the ball with somebody who is at a better goal scoring opportunity. They want to try to score themselves. Why? Because they want fame for themselves. A leader is not chasing fame. A leader is unselfish. A leader is not interested in him growing. A leader is not interested in him getting bonuses only. A leader is not interested in him getting all the praises. A good leader is unselfish. But you've got these leaders. You look, go to the corporate world. I've been in the corporate world for 30 years. I've seen different kind of people in positions who call themselves leaders, and they were very, very bad. They used to compete with the people that they lead. They used to steal ideas from the people that they lead and took those ideas and passed them to management as if it is their own ideas. They would never say, Bentley Clady has given me this idea and I think it's a good idea. Let's try and call Bentley in here to come and explain to us. No. Why would they call Bentley? No, they wouldn't. They would take that idea to top management as if it is their own idea. A leader must be sacrificing. As a leader, you need to sacrifice. You need to sacrifice. You sacrifice. Sometimes you sacrifice money. Sometimes there is no budget for certain things, but you can take money out of your pocket and do it. That is why in your church leadership as a pastor, if you're a pastor and you are listening to me, if your leaders cannot sacrifice, they are not good leaders. You should get rid of them. You should get rid of them one way or another. You need leaders that can be able to sacrifice. You cannot have somebody leading the youth. Now, because they want to buy sweets for the youth, they come to the pastor and say, Pastor, I need budget to buy the sweets for the youth as an incentive, but they are working. What stops them from going to a Chinatown and buy sweets and come and sacrifice those sweets and give and incentivize? No, you need to understand this. A leader must sacrifice. Point number next. A leader must be giving. No, you cannot have a stingy leader. No way, no way. Please, if you've got a stingy leader in your leadership, get rid of that leader. He is retarding the progress of your ministry, or she is retarding the progress of your ministry. A leader must be generous. A leader must be generous. Not stupid, but generous. Let us go to the next one. A leader must be available. No, you've got these people that call themselves leaders, but they are forever busy. They can't come to meetings because so and so. They can't do this because of that. They are there. Now they prioritize everybody else. They prioritize everything else, but not the leadership position that they're given. Get rid of such people. A leader must be available. They may not have the ability, but availability must be there. Now, let me tell you, I know some people make mistakes. They want to even to ordain people just because they like them and so and so on. If they've never led the home cell, you want to ordain them as a pastor. Big mistake. No, I've learned. I'm talking about years of experience. I have learned. A leader must be sensitive. Sensitivity, the leader must be able to keep secrets. A leader does not discuss the meeting with other people outside the meeting. No, A leader must be sensitive. A leader must be secretive. Look, listen to me. You will have people in church who are HIV positive, who've got certain sicknesses. They don't want to be disclosed. They cannot do certain things because of certain diseases that they've got. And if you know about them, you need to be sensitive. Now, a leader who is not sensitive, a sensitive leader must be able to guard their speech. A leader who is sensitive cannot be reckless with what they say. A leader who is sensitive will gauge the audience before they utter anything. As a leader who is sensitive will even respect the child at children's church. A leader who is sensitive will know how to deal with person who joined the ministry but they had a problem. They could have had a drinking problem. They could have had a drug problem. They could have had a prostitution problem. Any problem. A leader has to be sensitive. You cannot speak people's problems from the pulpit. No, never. You cannot speak people's problems to somebody else. A leader needs to be sensitive. A leader needs to be caring. I've heard people talk, I don't care, I don't care. Hey, a leader needs to be caring. When you don't see anybody at church, you need to be able to phone them and say, hey, I've been seeing you in 3 weeks. Are you okay? You see somebody has got a long face at church. After church, you need to go to them and say, hey, are you okay? It's just that I've not seen you. I haven't seen that smile that you normally give. Please come. Is there anything that we can do? Can we help you? No, as a leader, you must be caring. A leader must be supportive. No, let me tell you, as a leader, you need to be supportive. You need to support everyone around you. Let me tell you, if you're a pastor, you need to be supportive of other pastors. You need to be supportive of other pastors. Do not say you don't relate. There is no pastor that you should not be relating to as a pastor. You should be relating to all pastors, supportive to all pastors. I know of pastors, they go to attend conferences only when they preach. That's poor leadership. You do not go to conferences just because you're preaching. No. If you are a team of people preaching, you do not only attend the day in which you preach and ignore all the others that are preaching. You come and support all the other pastors that are preaching as well. Otherwise, you are not a good leader. I'm sorry. You are not a good leader. You'll be so surprised why people repel. Why people repel your presence. Why people don't give their all. You are not showing a good example at all. A leader must be supportive. Pastors must be supportive of other pastors. That's what you need to do. Can you just imagine? Look in the book of Acts. In the book of Acts, there's a guy called Barnabas. Did you know that Barnabas was actually Paul's spiritual father? No, you can read in the Bible. Read in the book of Acts. Read all the things that Barnabas did for Paul. Read the risk that Barnabas took. Remember, Barnabas was one of the 70 as well. He was one of the 70. So he became so powerful. He became so powerful. He is the first guy to even take his own money. You know, he took his own land. He sold his own wealth and gave it to the apostles. And said, apostles, here is money for ministry. Here is money. Read in Acts chapter 4. Barnabas took his own money, supportive of other apostles. These apostles did not even like Paul. When Paul came into the picture, he took Paul and put him under his arm. He said, Paul, I was one of the 70. I was one of the 70. I've learned from Jesus. This is how we do things here. So if you're a leader, you're not supportive, do not expect, let me tell you, do not expect to grow as a leader. You will remain in the same position. You do not expect your church to grow, because it will not grow. People will leave just like that. Why? Because they are not feeling that you want to grow them. You need to be supportive. Some people will come, they want to study the things that you've never studied yourself. You need to be supportive of them. Some people will come and say, I want to study mathematics. Just because you failed mathematics in grade 8 yourself does not mean that other people can't do it. You need to support them and say, hey, you can do it. You can do it. Just because you've had people leave your ministry, you cannot tell other pastors and say, people will leave, people will leave. People. No, you need to be supportive. You need to be supportive. Point number next. As a leader, you need to be dedicated. You need to be dedicated. Look, dedicated, disciplined, diligent, and faithful. Same WhatsApp group. You need to be dedicated. You need to be disciplined. Look, I know of people, when they're disciplined in their ministry, they leave their ministry. You discipline them, they leave their ministry. No, let them go. Let them go. Do not beg them to stay. Somebody who doesn't want to be taught. Somebody who doesn't want to be shown the way. When you show them the way, they throw the toys out of the court. Nah, let them go. They are not worthy. They are not worth your time. You cannot waste your time by investing in them. They are unteachable. A leader must be teachable. A leader must be able to learn from others. A leader must be able to learn from the people that he leads. A leader must be teachable. A leader who is not teachable, no, forget them. Forget them. Don't invest your time. I mean, you see, on social media, you've got so many people, you can tell by the way people respond to your posts that this one is not teachable. This one is not teachable at all. You can tell. Look, I've got many friends here on Facebook. I can tell you who is teachable and who is not. Excuse me. So it is important that you are teachable. Let me give you an example of servants in the Bible. Excuse me. Excuse me. We've got example of Abigail. You can find that in 1 Samuel chapter 25, 14 to 35. You've got Aruna in the Bible. 2 Samuel 24, 18 to 25. You've got Tabitha. Acts chapter 9, 36 to 41. I mean, you've got so many. You've got so many. You've got Lydia. Acts chapter 7. Lydia even started the Philippian church. It looks like Lydia started the Philippian church. The way she was so supportive, putting her money into the ministry. Yeah. Look, as a leader, you will go through tests. You will go through tests, and then these things sure will impact you big time. Let's speak about Joseph. The tests that Joseph had to go through. I mean, the ultimate test that he had to go through was to forgive his brothers. Can you just imagine what he says? He says, but you meant it for bad. God meant it for good. Hi, man. Joseph was tested. Joseph had a dream. He was tested in his leadership. He was loved by his father. He was loved by his father more than the rest. He was given a coat of many colors, and the rest didn't even get a shirt. So now can you just imagine? He tells his dreams to his brothers, and they hated him. They were hating him anyway. But then when he told them his dreams, they hated him even more. Can you just imagine the test that he got, that he had to go through? Being put in charge of the house of Potiphar, looking after the household of Potiphar. He was head of department. He was head of department. He did the budgeting. He did all those kind of things. And Potiphar's wife comes and wants to sleep with him. What a test. I mean, to show that he passed the test with flying colors. Do you know what he said to this woman? How can I do such a thing against God? Not against Potiphar, not against himself. He says against God. He passed the test. He knows that God is in heaven. His eyes are going to and fro, looking at who he can send, looking at who he can bless, looking at who is doing the right thing, looking at who he can trust. The eyes of God are going to and fro. And you need to know. You need to know. Moses failed that test, by the way. Moses failed that test after killing the Egyptian. Even before he killed the Egyptian, he looked left and right to see if anybody was watching. Then he killed the Egyptian. He forgot that God was looking. He forgot that God was looking from up there. So now you need to stop looking left and right and forget to look up. Your test will be when God looks at you. What will he say? You need to pass that test. You need to pass the God test. Not the human test, left and right. No, that is easy to pass. That is easy to pass. You can even get papers before. You can get questions before. You can please people. So people are so obsessed in pleasing other people. People want to be in leadership. They want to please the pastor. Hey, some pastors are happy with their leaders because their leaders are making them happy. But they forget, is God happy? Is God happy? Some leaders in churches, they are making the pastors happy. They are tithing. They are doing all things. They are leading people and everything else. But then their lifestyles, sure, their lifestyles. So it is important. It's very, very important that you understand that as a leader, you are going to be tested. Elisha was tested. Jesus was tested. Paul was tested. I mean, look at Peter was even tested. His integrity. Do you know that Peter was actually a racist? Peter was actually a racist. If you study the Bible well, you'll see the racial tendencies of Peter. Because Peter was one of the Judaizers. People that believe that for you to receive Jesus, you need to follow the Jewish customs. Now, when he was with Jews, he ate with them. Now, when the other disciples were not watching, Peter would eat with the Gentiles. But then when the other disciples come, Peter would distance himself. And then Paul would tell him, hey, Peter, why are you a hypocrite? Why are you a hypocrite? Understand this. Understand this ministry. Ministry has got no time for hypocrisy. You will be tested in ministry. We can give you scriptures for being tested. Let me give them to you. Proverbs 25, verse 21 and 22. Matthew 5, 38 to 48. Romans 12, 14 to 17 and 17 to 21. 1 Peter 3, verse 9 to 18. You can go and read those scriptures. Go and read those scriptures. on your own. So it is important that you understand this. As a leader, you will be tested. Tomorrow, I'm speaking about the things that you need to guard against as a servant leader. There are things that you need to guard against. I've got about 8 here, 10. I'll share tomorrow. My time is up for now. It's 7 o'clock. Thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate. You can find this video on YouTube as well from 7:30. Please go onto YouTube, like my page, and subscribe, and forward to other people to subscribe as well. Thank you very much for joining me. I truly appreciate. May God bless you. Good night. Thank you and good night.